Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you for coming to today's breakfast. The networking part's going really well. So if I could get your attention for a moment, we'd like to start the event. If I could, maybe try this way, if I could have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance, guys. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Wow, you guys are really networking this morning. It took the Pledge of Allegiance to get the attention. That's great. That's great. I'm glad everybody's here and making your connections and seeing friends you haven't seen in a while. It's my pleasure to open today's event. Most of you know me. I'm Helga Van Eckert. I'm the director for the Division of Economic Development for Volusia County. And it's my pleasure to get to facilitate this event every quarter. What I'd like to do for a moment is just recognize the elected officials that are here with us today. And they've written them down for me so that I don't screw up. Amanda Thorpe, Regional Representative at Office of Governor DeSantis. Here. Ernie Audino, District Director for U.S. Congressman Waltz. Tom Wright, State Senator for District 14. Bob Gertman, Volusia County Councilwoman, Vice Chair. Danny Robbins, Volusia County Councilman. Cyrus Callum, Volusia County Director of Aviation and Economic Resources. He's also my boss, so if you have any good things to say about me, that's the man to talk to. Derek Fiecher, Daytona Beach City Manager. Ruth Traeger, Daytona Beach City Commissioner. Richard Bryan, a Daytona Beach Shores City Council member. Phyllis, I always mess up your last name. Phyllis Bootlian, DeBerry Vice Mayor. Glenn Irby, Edgewater City Manager. William O'Connor, Orange City Councilman. Alex Tiamson, Orange City Council member. How bad did I do? Bill Partington, Ormond Beach Mayor. And Don Burnett, Port Orange Mayor. So we've got a full house today. This is great, and thank you all for coming. It's my pleasure, again, to start off by introducing our sponsor for today. I hope everybody's enjoying their breakfast. The woman that you have to thank is Emily Dawkins. She's the North Florida Regional President with Truist Bank. And Emily, if you can come up and just say a few words.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I am the North Florida Regional President for Truist Bank. I am filling in for Bob Ludlow today, who is our Market President for Volusia, Flagler, Daytona. He's very disappointed that he's not able to be here. He's been really looking forward to this event. Unfortunately, he's under the weather, So I'm filling in. It's kind of big shoes to fill in for Bob. Many of you probably know him. He has a real love and commitment to this community. And so he's also become a bit of our local historian. Do we have the slide? Can I flip? Here. Yep. All right. So Truist is a new name to the market, newer name to the market. It's a new name across the board, as BB&T and SunTrust came together in 2019 to form Truist. But while it's a new name, a new brand, we have a long legacy in this market. I think this is a picture from 1936 in one of our very early branch locations, featuring maybe the first, definitely one of the first drive-in windows at a bank location. So one of the things that we stand for at Truist is better, and is innovation and looking forward and staying on the front leading edge of technology. And we've been doing it since 1936. This was the original innovation for us. So one of the things that united all of us, our two banks coming together under the name of Truist, is our purpose. Our purpose is to inspire and build better lives and communities. Better really being the key word there that drives all of Truist teammates, believing that we really are better together and that we can always strive to do better. And we do that through inspiring and building, which are kind of two conflicting words almost, right? One implies forward-looking thoughtfulness, innovation. The other is very actionable, where you have a tangible outcome from what you're doing. And we all live that purpose on a daily basis, and we expect to be held accountable for that purpose. And in some ways that we're doing that in this community. Last year in 2021, Truist gave over $100,000 in grants to the local community here. We did this through our Truist Foundation, Truist Cares, and our Community Benefits Plan. We're committed to continuing this type of support this year and into the future. One of the events that we have coming up later this year is that we've partnered with Samaritan Feet, and we will be giving out over 1,000 pairs of new shoes, socks, and totes to all of the students at Torrey T. Small Elementary and Campbell Middle School. So our team will come together and do that as a group, and we're really looking forward to that event and giving back to the community. So we have a tremendous team in this market and then also here at this event. So I want to take a minute to recognize some of our Truist teammates. Randall Ward, if you want to give a wave, stand up, is our Commercial Relationship Manager. Troy Joris, Business Banking Relationship Manager. Kimberly Dillon is also on our Business Banking team. Carissa Jackson, one of our Wealth Advisors. Jamie Rowell, our Financial Advisor, who works very closely with our team, and Carissa. And then Lori Clark, our Retail Area Leader. So thank you all so much for being here today. And Bob left me a full page of notes that I hope I touched on the highlights, but I'm sure I didn't cover anything. So he'll catch you at the next event and fill in the gaps that I left out. Let me turn it back over to Helga.
Thanks, Emily. We really appreciate the support that we get from Truist and everything that we do, from the breakfasts as well as working with the local businesses. Okay, so now I get to give the quarterly update. You all have the quarterly booklet at your seat that you can take a look at and see all of the slides and all of the numbers that we've got for this quarter. I've selected a few slides out of that book to talk about because I wanted to have an abbreviated presentation today. I'm more than available if anybody has any questions after this, but we've got Laura DiBella, the Deputy Secretary of Commerce, speaking today, and I want to make sure that she has enough time to answer any questions that you have after she's done doing her presentation. So Laura, I'm giving up part of my time for you, just so you know. All right. There's some really important slides in there, though. I mean, we've all noticed what's going on with our community, that we've got growth everywhere we turn, and it's positive growth that we're seeing. If you look at the building permits for this quarter, we've got, this is residential. We've got 1,190 permits just in this last quarter. That only matches with the permits that we had the third quarter of 2021. The dollar value of those is up to it's in the nearing $400 million in permits, and that's throughout the county. Good part of that, of course, is right here in Daytona, but it's spread throughout. The commercial permits are something that's really interesting here as well. If you look quarter over quarter, quarter one in 2022, that stands out because that was the Amazon facility, the dollar value of the Amazon facility, bringing that slide up quite a bit. Same thing with Q1 of 2020, we had Amazon building then in Deltona. This one is in the Daytona Beach. But nonetheless, still 54 permits on construction building permits throughout the county just for the quarter. So we're seeing so much growth. And again, it's being put in the right place at the right time. And what does that growth do? So we have the residential growth, we have the commercial growth, creates new places for people to live, right? Creates new jobs. If you look at our labor force trend that's going on, this is, anybody who's been here before knows that this is my favorite slide. I've been told if I walk away I have to take the microphone. Okay, am I still on? Okay. This section here is really what I want you to pay attention to. So our unemployment rate has gone up to 3.2% this quarter, which is actually a good thing, because most experts out there will tell you anywhere from 4 to 5% is the ideal unemployment rate. What's good about this, though, the unemployment rate's gone up not because we've reduced the number of jobs, but because we've increased the labor force. If you look, the blue line here tells you those that are currently employed. That has not gone down. It's gone level, a little bit up, but the main thing is that we're maintaining there. When you look at the purple going up, that yellow delta in between, that's the increase. That's the increase in the labor force. And that's a matter of graduates coming out of colleges, right, and high schools going back to the workforce, as well as new people moving into the area. So it's a positive trend that we're seeing there. At the same time, you know, we still do have companies that are saying they're having difficulty in finding workforce. If you look at the chart here, this is a migration chart, shows inflow and outflow of workforce within Volusia County. We're still netting out more than we are netting in. We're showing about 110,000 migrating out for employment. Now, mind you, that includes those that are working for companies remotely, so they may still be in the county, but working out of their offices from home. But it's also those that are leaving. This chart actually shows the workforce that are here and each major industry. So they're all looking for employees. We can bring those employees that are migrating out back in, as well as bring employees in with the new residential that we have. We wanted to show this chart because this is the gain or loss from Q2 of 2021. And mind you, that was in the midst of COVID, right? Not at the very beginning, when we were starting to see it coming out of it. And leisure, hospitality, retail, professional services all saw growth. Local government, which included the school system and Daytona State College, all saw substantial growth from year over year. Education and health services saw a pretty heavy-duty reduction still in net loss. Anybody have any idea why? It's called burnout. We really pushed our health industry during the pandemic. A lot of them left for other jobs, decided it just wasn't for them. Education system, the same thing. They didn't know whether they were coming or going. We had, schools being done virtually. So that is still an area that we need to focus on when it comes to workforce. This slide actually covers before and after the pandemic. And the nice thing about this, it's mostly green. Green means growth, right? So the workforce has grown from before the pandemic hit, which was Q2 of 2020, right, to now you look at Q2 of 2022. Leisure, hospitality, we're better than we were before. We have more. Retail trade, we've gone up in what we had. Every quarter we've gone up.
Professional services, we're before Q1. We're hitting higher numbers. All of those areas we're doing great. If you take a look at transportation, warehouse, and utility, during COVID, they weren't hit at all because the demand for those services actually went up because so many of us were cloistered in our homes, right? So we were ordering so much more online rather than going out. Now, transportation and warehouse in Volusia County, 5,700 as opposed to 2,900. I mean, from a percentage standpoint, that growth has been unbelievable. And in this coming year, as the new Amazon facility gets up and a couple of other facilities get up and running, you're going to see that number go even higher. And what does that tell us from my department standpoint? We've got to start focusing on making sure that that workforce is available. We've got to put programs in place to make sure that our residents are trained and equipped to respond to the demand that's going on. But if you look, we're looking great. Our numbers are wonderful. The county's growing in a strong fashion. So it's all good news from our end today. One of the things that we're doing to help businesses, whether they be the smaller businesses, the startup businesses, the medium-sized businesses, or the larger, is we've actually, through our office, pulled together all of the economic development provider services within the county under one banner called Volusia Business Resources. It's something that I'm really proud of. We've worked over the past year. We did a survey to find out where the gaps were in our community as far as business needs and where we saw areas that we could provide assistance. We bring Brain Trust in to meet every other month. A number of you are here. Anybody who's a member of VBO, want to raise your hand? Come on, Nancy, put your hand up. I saw it. It's been a really wonderful event. We get together, we talk about what we can do, how we can fill those gaps. We just launched the new Volusia Business Resources website, VolusiaBusinessResources.com. I'm going to give kudos to Katrina from my staff. She's the one who spearheaded the program. If you put your camera on the QR code up here, it will actually take you to the website. Don't even type it in. I'm gonna switch because I hear myself bouncing. Is that okay? All right, great. Excuse me? No, you can't hear me? Hear me now? Okay. I'm hearing it bounce in and out. Is it not doing that? It is. Okay. Of course, it's my last slide that it's doing it on, right? I'm about to say goodbye. I almost made it. Volusia Business Resource is an amazing tool that's going to be available for businesses. We're going to continue working, meeting every other month to develop new programs. We're going to be starting our next annual survey very soon on that. So we're going to ask that when the survey comes to you, because as an attendee, we now have your email address, so we will send out a request that you complete the survey. I promise it won't be as long as last year's. But the data really is used. It doesn't sit on a shelf. We analyze it, we synthesize it, we come up with new programs and new things that we can do to help the businesses. So if you want to have a say without having to have to attend every meeting, that's the way to do it. So with that, it's a shameless plug. It's my pleasure to introduce the guest speaker for today. And I'm going to start by reading you her bio. And then I'm going to tell you who she really is. Laura DiBella is newly appointed Deputy Secretary of Commerce for the state of Florida. Prior to this appointment, she served as Executive Director of the Florida Harbor Pilots Association from November 19th to November 2019 to July 2022, charged to represent and further their mission as the first responders of Florida's blue economy, ensuring that the uninterrupted flow of commerce through all 14 operating deep water seaports in Florida. Sounds really impressive. Now, I'll tell you, I've known Laura for over a decade. She's been a great colleague, a strong competitor. The colleagues when we're at Jack's USA, the competitors when she's at Nassau County competing for projects. She's also been a fun cohort at conferences. But most importantly, she's been an amazing friend over the past decade. And if there's anybody who is tenacious and who gives every ounce of her being to everything she does, it's Laura. She won that race, by the way. I didn't think, were you able to breathe afterwards? She's a marathon runner, and I'm sure she'll give us a little bit of an update on that. But, you know, Laura, in her new position, she's taken on not just Enterprise Florida and not just the business recruitment for the state, but Enterprise Florida does so much more. And I'm going to let her tell you about it. So, Laura, if you would come up and let us know what it is that you're seeing for the future. It's terrific. Oh, goodness. I knew that was coming. I had a feeling that was coming, so I'm flattered. Thank you. Thank you so much for the warm introduction, Helga, and good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. What a star-studded audience. I'm nervous, actually. I don't normally get too nervous when I speak, but thank you for having me today. Once again, I'm Laura DiBella. I'm the Deputy Secretary of Commerce at Enterprise Florida. This is my 4th whole week on the job, and it has been a real crazy and awesome 4 weeks. But I am, oops, can you hear me okay? Yeah, I'm good. As Helga had said, I'm a stranger to economic development and many other aspects of development in the economy. So I can give you just a little bit of background on that that Helga had touched on. Before everything else, I'm going to go ahead and save you from those pictures. I started in commercial real estate, actually. So for 12 years, I was a commercial real estate broker. And in 2014, I got my license in 2002 and worked all over the state. Hospital Corporation of America was my bread and butter client for 7 years, 2007 to 2014. They had me bird dogging for land all over the state of Florida, and that was what really introduced me to economic development. So for those that don't know too much about how healthcare works, healthcare is as retail as Publix and banks. I was competing against Publix, every bank for every hard, important corner all over this state. And I was looking at farmland for future hospitals, so everywhere. Hospitals follow very much the line of fire of growth. So I was in a lot of rural communities. That's how I ended up in Nassau County. So we were doing some work up there, and I met some county officials, and they had said, hey, our Director of Economic Development just resigned. Why don't you put your hat in the ring for that? And I was like, me? I'm like, why? I was like, I'm a broker, I'm not an economic developer. And they said, no, you'd be good at this. And I knew it was about to happen up there. This is in 2014. And I never looked back. That was the best decision I could have ever made. And I saw what happens, the service after the sale, and I saw what that transaction really meant to a community. And the bug bit me. So from there, 2.5 into those 5 years that I served, I was voluntold as port director to be port director at Port of Fernandina. So I was wearing 2 hats, and which was awesome. I learned so much about that side of the economy. And then from there, I was picked up for the Florida Harbor Pilots and moved over to Tallahassee and was served as their first executive director, conveniently 3 months before the pandemic and the complete shutdown of the cruise industry. So talk about shaking up everything. So from the whipsaw effect from the cargo and cruise going from nothing to everything and experiencing everything there, I got to witness that. So, and from there I ended up here. So I'd like to say I have a pretty well-rounded view of what's happening in this state and how this is, how we can function and really, move ahead. So, but I'll leave everybody else to decide that. So. Anyways, I'm going to go over very quickly some slides just to explain who Enterprise Florida is, what we do, what we're all about. But I really want to, instead of talking at you, talk with you. I want to take questions, kind of give you my perspective. I've had the chance to spend 2.5 days here. That's the longest I've spent anywhere in the past 4 weeks.
And I've seen so much, like between, all of the information I've received from the Volusia County team, from Team Volusia with Keith and his team, I've seen a lot, and I'm just bullish on this county. This is a really, really interesting mix of excitement that you have going on here. So just my eyes have really been opened since I've been here, so I'm appreciative of the time. All right, enough of that, right? Okay, so where are you in the grand scheme of everything? 81% of Florida's population through 2030 is going to be concentrated in 10 counties. Look at how close you are to where all of this action is. This speaks volumes of what is to come for you. Obviously, just because you're not dark like them doesn't mean, you're not going to be affected by all of this growth. 800 people are moving to Florida a day. Does that mean all 800 of them are going to work? No, they'll just probably cut that down to the third, so you have the retirees, those that cannot work yet, children, if you will, and then you have that middle bracket. So take a third of that 800 a day, and that's going to be your, constantly replenishing workforce. So be grateful for that. That number seems to be growing, so we're going to keep going. I put up this slide because as I told you, I have a little bit of that transportation background, and you just can't help, I'm telling you something that you already know, you just can't help to really look at how you're positioned in the transportation universe, really. I mean, being at the nexus of I-95 and I-4, especially given all of that growth that we had pointed out before, is incredible on its own. And then you go ahead and take another step further, and you look at your proximity to the Port of Jacksonville and your proximity to Canaveral, obviously being a little bit closer to Canaveral. I can talk on for days about what's going on here and here right now, but the fact that you are perfectly positioned in between these two and obviously connected this way too, to these ports, don't forget about these guys over here, means a lot. So it's the amount of growth that is happening in the Port of Jacksonville, the amount of growth that's happening in Canaveral, as well as Tampa, only speaks to the type of industry that is going to want to come here. Because you have options. That's the answer to every company now, is options. Options, you have a plan B, you have a contingency plan if things don't work here, you have a contingency plan if things don't work here, and you got another one over here. You just have those options that the lessons that have been delivered to us as a world, over these past couple of years, is that you need to have more options when you are trying to run a business. Okay, talking about Enterprise Florida, public-private partnership started in 1996. The Department of Commerce, Florida converted its Department of Commerce into a public-private partnership. We were the first state to do this, this model. So, and its motivation actually to do so is pretty simple. Who knows how to recruit and retain business better, businesses or government? So, businesses obviously have a very, they know how to be nimble, they know how to attract, they know how to retain. So, they wanted the business community to be the leader in the economic development equation, and that model has stuck ever since 1996. And remains where we are today. So we are funded in part, obviously, by the legislature, and then also it's a one-to-one match by the private community. So we're a 501c3. Our board of directors is quite big, and it's obviously business leaders, elected officials, appointees, and such. Governor Ron DeSantis is our chairman, and obviously the voting members are all of those that I had mentioned before. Our economic development structure is as follows. Obviously, it is the governor, our board of directors, and then we have all of these agencies that we work with and respond to, and just collaborate with: DEO, Department of Economic Opportunity, Space Florida, Career Source, and then also Visit Florida. We have a lot of offices around the world, and this is because Florida is an international entity. If we were a country, we would be equivalent to Indonesia, I believe. That's the where we stand right now. So I won't mention all of the offices, but we have all of them in every major area that you can think of right now. So I was just speaking to a nice young lady over there about our office in the UK, which, they are there to facilitate not only businesses here, but also to capture FDI investment from there. So this hopefully will continue to grow because there's some other markets that we'd like to expand to. Our job is simple. Retention is first. Not many people realize that. Economic development at its core is retention. We care more about the businesses that are here than those that we were going to bring in. Because if we lose the businesses that are here, we take a bigger hit to our tax base than if we never got one to begin with. So that is the premise of economic development. So we retain, I always put retain first. We retain and then we recruit, and it is a wonderful, successful cycle, you would like to think. I was going back to where we were before, with all the growth that's happening around the world, and there's nobody really that is not growing. That's why our focus is so heavy on international, and you'll see why. But this kind of gives you a little bit of a taste of just where all of the expansion is and where it's going. Talking about the foreign direct investment, what can I say? It's very, very big. Many of our projects are from across the pond. They come here, they come to us through our international offices. More than 100,000 new jobs have been created thanks to our FDI work. And of course, that keeps going. We consistently rank among the top 5 states for foreign direct investment. We are the first among the Southeast. Nearly all of our FDI comes from Europe, 15% from Canada, 15% from the Asia Pacific, 10% from Latin America, 10% from the Caribbean, and our top FDI sources, again, are UK, Canada, Germany, France, Switzerland, Japan, and Ireland. So I won't get into this too much, but how we also capture a lot of this FDI investment is by going out to these shows. We just came back from the Farnborough Air Show right before I had begun. Our team was there, very successful show. Lieutenant Governor Nunez was with our team there. Very, very, very successful show. We're still capturing some of the information and the numbers from it, but there's so many others, from the Singapore Air Show, Dubai Boat Show, I could go on and on. I mean, obviously we have to be selective. We have a budget, a very tight budget at that, but all of these shows have proven successful to us. In addition, we do trade missions. Mexico, Brazil, Panama, Ecuador. Panama is coming up, and then also Israel had come up. So that's obviously expanding, what we're offering. A little bit more information of what I've just spoken about, some of the shows and the trade missions that we did. Very big thing coming up in November. Is the SUSE Japan, Southeast SUSE Japan conference. We are the host, Florida is the host. We're able to be the host every 14 years, so we have a massive contingent coming from Japan that is going to be here, and we're going to give them show them our best Florida that we have. Other states will be with us. The entire Southeast is invited, so very, very big deal. For anybody who would like additional information on that, feel free to look up SUSE Japan or contact our office. We'll give you that. So lots of businesses, a lot of opportunities to make connections, especially in the Japan trade, because that's such a big partner to us. Another thing we do is the certificates of free sale. I won't get into that. A lot of people do offer that, but it's something important. It's a service that we provide to, as far as trade and export. It's a very necessary document that we need. We also do trade grant programs. This is definitely more along the lines of service to any companies that we have here, helping them export and expand, anything to just continue to strengthen not only your company but also our economy. So international trade, as I'm getting back into this again, supports why. I'm not getting into the why. Why do we do this? Because it supports so many jobs. 2.5 million jobs in Florida, about a quarter of the total. It's really, really important that we keep our foot on the gas on our international efforts. So I can't express that enough. Our volume is about 150 billion annually, with 60% is with our Americas, and then I can get into the trade partners. Again, we're the key transshipment port for Latin America and Caribbean trade, and about a third of U.S. trade with Latin America passes through our state. So we are an international animal. We need to think of ourselves that way. So we are not just a state. We are an international conduit for many things. Our service exports about 50 billion per year, and again, that's all on the international front. We assist with minority and small business entrepreneurship and capital. This is a rather new program that EFI took on a couple years ago. Again, it's facilitating the backbone of our economy, our small businesses, and helping those that traditionally are on the underserved side. What we also do, not a lot of people really know, is the military and defense support. And that is with our Florida Defense Alliance and Florida Defense Support Task Force. Why do we do that? It's because defense is the third leading economic driver of the state's economy after tourism and agriculture. It supports so many jobs. So this is a very big division for us and continues to grow. So everything that we can do, especially on the cybersecurity side, like there is a lot of reasons that we need to be very much in support of our military, especially on the economic side, because they have a massive impact. We also have the Sports Foundation, the Florida Sports Foundation that we work with, and they quite honestly have the funnest job in the world. They're the ones that are promoting to do sports here, all sorts of sports events. So Super Bowls, national championships, you name it, all the way down to Little League type of stuff. So really amazing stuff. We have the FIFA 2026 is going to be an incredible year for Florida. We have the World Cup, we have the national championship, we have, I'm forgetting all the things that are going on right now, but our Florida Sports Foundation is doing incredible work in bringing these big events to Florida, providing them with grants to assist those local communities to support these events, and obviously having a huge economic impact and showing off Florida, to the world stage, because these are just huge, just such high-profile events. So can't say enough about that. All right, and how do we do it? How do we do it? We work closely with statewide economic developers like you and like everybody else that is in this state, all 67 counties, and that's why I'm here. We're here to support and be that agency that will help you succeed. It is a top-up, not a top-down type of support structure. So economic development begins and ends at the local level. It is not our job to tell you what you want in your community. It is you to tell us how we can help you. So we are here to facilitate, and we're here to bring you the leads and ultimately help you close that deal. So that is, on the most part, kind of pretty much where I want to wrap it up and open it up for questions. Sorry I burned through that. I'm a quick talker. I'm Italian, but just to give you an idea, we have 3 offices. We have Orlando, Tallahassee, and Miami. I'm based here, but I spend a lot of time, obviously, in the other 2 offices. Here is our information. My email address is here as well, if you'd like to send me a note, or my phone number. But I would like to give everyone the opportunity to ask some questions. I'm definitely wanting to do that, and want to spend enough time to do that. So, anyone? Oh, I can give. Oh, you have an extra one. Okay, good. Who wants to go first? There you go.
Thank you. Shailesh Patel with Dredging and Marine Consultants. You touched upon something that is very close to me as a small business owner.
Yes.
You talked about how important it is for you to look at retainage of companies. As a business owner, I will say this, and maybe it's a statement to you since you're only 4 weeks into the job. I think it is very important that you perhaps take this opportunity to look at small businesses, which I believe is the heart of any community, right? There are more small businesses that make the economy tick. But I feel like as a small business, we talk about how every financial institution, banks, you folks, everyone, are there to help small businesses grow and support them financially. As a business owner, I see the opposite. I don't really see that where small businesses are really helped financially to grow. Every time you go to a bank, you always find that it's discouraging. And I've seen that myself over 20 years. And I've grown my company. So I just want to maybe make a statement or have you think about something since you're new on the job, is that I think that is something that needs to be looked at, because generally I find that that is a great statement to make, but the reality is far from the truth. And I don't mean to put a damper on this, but it's the reality. I'm a small business owner. I'm in this community. I'm rooted, but I really don't see that many benefits. I do appreciate some of our communities, cities, supporting us for business purposes. But other than that, honestly, financial institutions, try being a small business owner and go to a bank, see if you can get a loan or anything like that. And if you do, it's a very high interest rate, right? So the package is beautiful, and you're lucky if you can succeed with that package. So thank you very much.
I appreciate your feedback. I mean, that's important, and certainly, certainly at the state and local level, it's our job to ensure that you are aware of all the resources that are out there, potentially for, I can take this to you offline. Unfortunately, I have to meet a prospect like immediately after this this event today, but I'm happy to speak to you at, either by phone, email, whatever it may be, at a later time, just to understand who you've tapped into, because there is a tremendous amount of resources, and that's and that's almost our problem, is that there's so many resources, and that we can't get that information to everybody fast enough. So allow me to take that conversation with you offline. I'm happy to do that. Yeah.
Hi, Kelly Lacombe. I love the idea of economic development. And I got to tell you, I've lived here, almost 3 decades. I have seen when, we didn't have anything and nobody wanted to support us. Then we'd come up, then we'd go down. And we started to grow, and everything is great. At the same time, I got to wait through 3 traffic lights on Dunlop. So and I'm a realtor. So, I've got a real dichotomy here, because I'm part of the growth. On the other side, I'm the guy who's all pissed off at a light going, I've been through 3 lights here. It's 5 o'clock. So when we do economic development, is it just to keep the engine going? Do we ever go back and look at what is the result of it? Great, okay, we've got this many new jobs, we got this much money coming in, but I still have to wait for 3 lights on Dunlop. My reality is I'm not happy about it. I also see in traffic, and I know that this is economic development, but you guys don't work with them. There's not a cohesive way that everybody goes, you know what, if we put this in, kind of like on LPGA Boulevard, what does it do and what's the result to the people who pay your salaries to do this to us or for us? I don't know which. So I think that I watch all of this and I listen to you, and you are exactly right. I've had the wonderful opportunity to go fill out the stack of forms to try to get a loan. I could have just gotten on my own, but go through the SBA and, you're just in a paper mill. So how can you guys come up with a more holistic approach to where it's not just growth for growth's sake, and not just to pad the numbers and go, okay, we did, 8.5% over last year, year to year, da-da-da-da-da. It's irrelevant when I'm waiting 3 lights on Dunlawton Avenue. So how can we come up with ways of economic growth, expansion, and dealing with what he's talking about, getting the local businesses, because I've gone in, I've applied, I have begged for money, and if I was out of county, man, I could have gotten a ton of it. But in here trying to grow my business and employ more people locally without having to create new infrastructure, without having to build another building, without having to add, just more impact on the community, and that's where I just see that the disconnect is not in a holistic approach to both what you're doing it for and what the end result is for the people that you're doing it for. Mm-hmm. So anyway, sorry, thanks.
It's okay. I can respond to that just in part, because I understand exactly where you're coming from. I dealt with this very heavily in Nassau County, very heavily, because Nassau County is one of the fastest growing counties in the state of Florida, in the country, actually. And my answer always was, it's not going to be necessarily what you're expecting me to say, is it's the economic development that's actually trying to help with that. It's not appearing to be that way. But the absence of an strong economic development initiative in your community is sprawl and non-coordination altogether. So not putting anybody on the hot seat in this at all, but that means you need to focus more energy on your economic development team and plan overall. If that coordination is not there, because we had that in Nassau. We were blamed for everything. We were blamed for if we didn't have, the lights, there was too much going on there. We have one long road that goes out of the county. There was no way to get in or out except for this one road. So, and had there been coordination 20 years ago, better coordination, we wouldn't have been in that place. And now that's where we are now. So over there, I said we, they now. So I appreciate you saying that. It's good that everybody's in the room and hears that. And what I would say is continue to support your economic development agencies, all of them. You have a lot of players in this community, and they're great. They're great people, and everybody needs to work together, because that's going to help you solve that problem. When things are good, economic development is the first thing to go in budgets, and that's too bad. That's a model and a formula that is to your detriment. You should continue to support economic development, and even more so when things are great, because they're the ones that will craft and create the community that you wish to have. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Hi there.
Hi.
So can you give us some insight into how we could become more competitive to bring more high-paying businesses to our area? We have great resources, as you mentioned, the corridor we're in and access, but we're low wage compared to other areas. So can you give us some insight? Because again, our housing has become more expensive. We need to bring in higher paying jobs and greater opportunities. So can you give us some insight from your experience how we can become more competitive for those types of businesses and industry?
I have to apologize, because I have to look at your marketing plan. I have to see how you're positioning yourself in the county. But sorry, I don't want to answer you entirely, because I don't want to say you're not doing this. So I want to couch my statement. But I think, just from my perspective, looking at this, you should be heavily transportation focused. You should be really highlighting your strong suits right now. The I-4, I-95 corridor, the airport, the Embry-Riddle. You are, as you know, again, you know this, but you have the ecosystem, you have the aerospace ecosystem here, and nobody else does. in the state, like you do. So I would really go heavy on that industry. And as far as your focus, you can't be all things to all people. So pick what's your best, really what you can continue to hit home runs with. And that is really in and around that industry and around the transportation component. Right now, as the companies that we're seeing coming in, and again, I'm not saying that you're not doing this. I have to look, but I'm happy to talk to the team about it. And that's where your high wage jobs are coming from, and that conveniently is where a lot of the companies that are looking at the state are in that industry. So in those markets, they're looking for the supply chain that already exists. They're looking for the Embry Riddles and the incubator. What was the incubator name I went to yesterday? That's it. They're looking for stuff like that, to help them. The UCF incubator. They're looking for the availability of these programs so that they don't have to create them. You know what I mean? It really shortens their time frame for success here. So I would, my initial thoughts, being here the past 2.5 days is what I would say. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, last.
Thank you, sir. I don't even know if it's on. I guess it is. Laura, welcome to the team.
Nice to see you again.
As your senator here for this area, we all, I think, are very impressed with our Governor, Ron DeSantis. And he chose this lady to be in this position. So as your senator, I really appreciate all the feedback. That's how we learn what your needs are. That's how we get to know what's going on. And this young lady's been on the job 4 weeks, and this will help her to do a better job for all of us. And maybe we can ask her to come back in about 6 months so we can thank her for all the good things that she's doing, because this is what we need. We need to have her experience shared with all of us here in the state of Florida so that we can better grow and better achieve the goals that we all have. One thing that I say as a senator is that we have a lot of great programs that the state of Florida puts together, that the legislature approves and funds. But the thing that we do the worst is we don't market it. So come to our office, call our office, let us try and help you. Our good friend Michael Waltz, Congressman Waltz, Ernie Ardino is here. They can maybe help a little bit on the federal side. We can try and help on the state side. But please come, call our office, we'll meet with you, and we'll be able to help direct you to some areas that you may not be aware of. It's our job to be aware of all these opportunities, and we want to help you to make sure that you find them. So thanks for being here today, Laura, because I think you have a big job on your hands. We're going to get you some shoulder pads because it's a big job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm a traffic engineer locally for 3 decades. The thing we did so well 20, 30 years ago was fund transportation. And we ended up with a system that was great and allowed us to drive along Dunlawton and other roads without having to stop. And what we've done since then is not a lot. What we've done since then is grow. What we've done since then is we filled up that capacity that was built and invested in so long ago. What we need to do in working with Senator Wright on this, on several projects, is to talk about how we can fund the infrastructure that we need for this. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, needs to be our focus, and that will help fund the engine of transportation, fund the engine of growth, and I think that needs to be our primary focus. So, thank you.
I agree.
Okay, I hate to do this,
I
but
do.
I have
I'm
to
getting
call,
the hook.
I have to call time and give you the hook.
No problem,
Okay?
no problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
So that concludes today. I want to thank all of you for coming out. It was a great conversation, great information for all of us, and especially thank Laura for taking the time. You know, she's been hit with a fire hose worth of outreach and calls and comments from people in the new position, and she's going to need time to get kind of DiBellarize the new system for us. So, thank you.